Today is August 12th, 2024. I just got back from lunch at Chuckarama. I was going to have a salad, but I ended up having chicken fried steak twice. So I sent a email to a former manager, and I told him this. I told him that trading is intermittent and sporadic and inconsistent until clarity is achieved. Achieving clarity means having a backtest that provides a concrete proof of that specific instance of being consistent. Once that is made conscious, then that brings upon clarity. That clarity breaks away all manner of inconsistency and intermittent results in trading. Because if I am clearly and fundamentally aware of how trading is done, then I will practice doing what I'm supposed to be doing on a consistent basis. That's why I hear this from SMB Capital. SMB Capital, they keep saying this. They said apparently they made a new video. They rented an expensive hotel and they gathered their traders together, and they have 3 rules. Warren Buffett has 3 rules, and his rule is don't lose money, don't lose money, don't lose money. That's his 3 rules. Now, for these guys in SMB Capital, the founder, Mike Bellafiore, stood up and he says there are 3 rules to trading at SMB Capital. And the first rule is consistency. And then he looks at the audience and he says, can you guess what the second rule is? Consistency. And everybody erupts in laughter. So consistency brings upon clarity. Clarity is substantiation of whatever I'm doing is resulting in a specific expected result at a specific statistical probability. And therefore, even if I see a statistical probability in the outlier situation, then it is expected, and therefore it is still consistent. As long as I'm consistent in a manner that I'm achieving my objective with the specific criterias that I have implemented to bring upon that consistency. And that can only be achieved when I have clarity. Clarity. Right now in Boise, the air is polluted. A mixture of population growth, and the second part is forest fires that are out there. And it is. But if I were to imagine myself lifting myself above this air pollution and above the clouds, I would see clarity pointing up. But for now, clarity is based on solidifying and understanding a particular behavior of the activity that I'm performing to justify what consistency is. When that consistency achieves, as I sent an email to my former manager, It used to be called Atmel. Uh, so they were bought up by this company, and right at the anyway, 2008, the housing crisis. Apparently, they're like tranches. There were tranches, piling up tranches that were allowing the banks to be very very rich. So as part of that decline, I had anyway. That's what happened. So clarity is essentially defining either in a back test or a forward test to bring upon results. Results that clearly define the behavior of a particular setup and a system and and the person who was making that transaction. And all those integrated together creates a picture. And that picture has a clarity once a once a once it's essentially that. Okay, so I was thinking about this a long time ago, and the bridge from unprofitability to profitability, the bridge is called clarity. The bridge name. Okay, so apparently there's a war movie called Bridge Over something, right? Bridge Over whatever it is, and it's about this bridge that needs to be blown up in order to suppress the advancements. Um, and that actually plays out in a lot of the movies. What is it called? Bridge something? Anyway, so clarity is a bridge, name of the bridge that brings myself from unprofitability to profitability. Once I cross that bridge, and that bridge has a very, very simple structure. One of them is stop loss, the other is uh, win to loss ratio, uh, risk to reward, and the size. Okay? Just those four little things in combination will allow me to be consistent. And actually, the fifth one, which is the setup, right? The setup is going to be it. So, stop loss, setup, win to loss ratio, and risk to reward, and yeah. So let me see. Let me see if I can clarify that. Let me see if I can clarify it. Let me see if I can bring clarity to it. Okay. So the first is stop loss. Second is the setup. The third is win to loss ratio. The fourth is uh, risk to reward. Okay, so there's four of these. Yeah, exactly. What's the fifth one? Anyway, those are the four things. Those are the four things that bring upon clarity in any trade, right? So let me repeat again, so that I'm bringing clarity to my what I'm talking about. So the first is the stop loss, the setup, win to loss ratio, and risk to reward. Okay, those are the four primary things. Have I missed out something? Anyway, so what once I achieve a a full understanding of those four principles of day trading, then I am consistent. And those four things brings upon the structure of the bridge, and the name of the bridge is called clarity. Clarity. Think about this. Let's say I take a bunch of data and I run it through a machine with specific objectives to identify a particular behavior. And I sift it through 1,000, 10,000 times through that system. And at the end of it, I come up with certain summarization of the behavior in a certain situation that allows me to assign specific numbers to the risk and the size and and the stop loss and specific structure of the trade. And when that happens, that allows me to assign a statistical probability that says, okay, it's going to happen at 80 to 90%. When I assign a specific number, it diffuses the vagueness of that situation to bring upon something called clarity. Once a clarity is achieved, then people who get very lucky uh, because of intermittent uh, the intermittent credentials they have, essentially, because let's say that I'm in a situation where I heard some news and I go long on a particular stock, and then for some reason the market behaves in line with my expectation, okay, and it moves in the direction that I have made my trade in, and it pays off. But that is essentially my direction is in line with the market. In reality, what I need to do, that is called intermittent behavior, because when the market turns and my thesis is incorrect and I go in that direction based on limited limited uh, limited information, limited confluences, then that creates a situation where vast majority of the time, or even 51% of the time, it causes me to be on the wrong side of the thesis. And that causes intermittent trading results. In order to be consistent and have clarity in the situation, I have statistical data that assigns a particular situation that suppresses the outliers. Even if I am 49% win to loss ratio, I'm able to, first of all, a tool that is a stop loss that stops my trade from erroneously eroding my account to a situation where the account is blown. Then that is one tool that I use. The other is to assign a specific sizing. When the situation arises where the trade is to a lesser degree of certainty, then I can lower my sizing to fit that particular setup. That allows me to save myself for something that has a higher probability. And when in unison, along with that, then I have a situation where my sizing is going to then I know how long I can hold. So that's my sizing. Then I can determine how long I hold my trade based on looking at the support and resistance areas and the momentum that the that the forex pair is moving in that particular direction to create a velocity to that particular movement, and also to determine at which point where the momentum will slow because it is reaching a point where there is supply and demand. And clarity is I've talked about this many times before. It is crossing to the other side. It is essentially crossing to the other side. And I mentioned this like 2 to 3 years ago about this castle in a moat, and that moat has a bridge, and that bridge is called clarity. The name of the bridge is clarity. And once I enter into that bridge, then it is a matter of being consistent in development of the structures that allows me to elevate my trading. Secondly, it is allowing me to hold. Now, when I cross to the other side, there are three things that I need to consider. One of them is the right setup for that particular situation. The second part is the longevity of that trade, how long I hold it. Third is the sizing, okay? And then if something does happen, then I can implement the tools like the stop loss in order to get me out of trade, so that so that the confluences that I pictured into in developing a thesis, if it's incorrect, with a lesser of a setup that is prone to that situation, then I can exit the trade and save that trade and then save it for a next trade. And then I repeat that for each situation that arises that allows me to evaluate whether that particular situation is their entry point for a uh, substantial amount of gain, or is it just there for something that I see that can be taken to take a quick scalp of the situation. So I sent an email, and I may have eaten like 4 bowls or something like that. They had cornbread, they had biscuits, they had uh, they had chicken fried steak, and I put some gravy on it, and they had potatoes on it, and and, and that is my favorite place to go. Anyway, so that brings clarity. That brings clarity to the situation, and that is that is in itself. That is in itself. I got to go to work in a few minutes. Okay, 15 minutes. So essentially, I got to go start washing dishes in about 15 minutes. So essentially, I was trying to figure out what the name of that bridge was. It's called clarity. It's clarity. It's clarity. Once clarity is achieved, then you cross to the other side because that's how it's clear. It's clear. It's crystal clear. Okay? That's how it's done. It's crystal clear. There's no other way of doing it. How could there be any other way of doing it? Any other way is called intermittent way. The bridge may have holes in it. It may be like may have like half a row or something like that. But the bridge that takes me from this side to the other side, the name of that bridge is called clarity. And that clarity, vast majority of people do it cheaply by means of backtesting. So they do backtesting. They take that experience that they have in backtesting, get into demo, free of charge demo, and then once that that backtesting has been proven in a demo environment, then it is taken live into actual trading slowly, and then as confidence builds in a greater amount, and then that can be spread around to other areas as well, like live trading into prop firms and things like that. But clarity is a word that has taken me 4 years to achieve. It's like going on a marathon. Apparently, world class marathon runners on a consistent basis finish a 26-mile in less than 2 hours. But somebody like me who's overweight, old, and not athletic at all, and and haven't run a mile in many many years, it would probably take 4 years. So essentially, if I'm able to, this is one advice that I give. Okay, this is one advice that I give to. I haven't given any advice so far within 1,300 videos that I've uploaded into YouTube. But this is one advice that I wholeheartedly give. Now, granted that whatever I post on YouTube is just for fun, and nobody should take whatever I say, any content that I have, should ever be used to risk money whatsoever. It is it is there for my own enjoyment, and and results depend vary greatly on the person who's taking that risk. And Legally speaking, I am not bound by any sorts of legal obligations, as I clearly state at this moment that anything that I posted is purely for enjoyment purposes, for entertainment, and has nothing to do with giving advice to achieving wealth whatsoever. Now, having said that, uh, now the advice that I give at this moment is that after having toiled away for 4 years, is achieving clarity by means of backtesting or forward testing is the only way to make consistent returns in the market.